Everybody, welcome to 6 Questions with Alana. That's me. And today we have with us Teresa, one of our wonderful faculty members. So we're going to be talking about, you have 2 pieces that we get to talk about.
Oh my gosh, that's right. I really did forget about that.
I forgot about one of those too. So we'll talk about the one that we did on stage.
Okay.
But first, I'm just going to ask you some regular questions. What first drew you into choreography?
So let's see. I have to go way back on this. So I think it was around, I was probably like 11, 12-ish. So I did ballet predominantly through adolescence and into young adulthood. So that's basically all all I had. But I knew I was going to do ballet, but I loved ballet, but I liked moving differently. So, and there wasn't not a lot of jazz where I grew up, and modern, I didn't even know what modern was until college.
Yeah,
so,
normal.
So, at that time there was a big push of, dance in music videos. So I think I just got inspired by seeing other people move, bodies that were more like mine. And, so I think that's kind of what inspired me mostly. And I pretty much did more of like what would be considered then, which was hip hop. Yeah. Or like jazz funk stuff. Yeah. So that's basically how I kind of got started, and I just kind of experimented on friends. Yeah. They would just let me like organize things, and then I realized I kind of like this, and they just let me do that, and then I started teaching like around 13 to the like young kids. Yeah. So that's kind of what started, and I think it planted that seed of I think I want to do this, like not just the choreography, but just I realized I really enjoy teaching. In general. So kind of that's where it started. So around the late 80s, early 90s, I guess. Yeah. That's crazy.
These videos, yep. That's when it was huge. So question number 2 is, what movement styles do you most enjoy teaching and choreographing?
That's really difficult. Because mostly, well, at least for here, I teach jazz and I teach modern dance. So I enjoy teaching and choreographing for both, but I feel like I do more of that fusion or contemporary movement mostly. That's what I enjoy doing now. But it's really hard to have to pick and choose, because I do, I enjoy teaching it, and for different reasons. Like I love the, that precision and having to do things on specific counts and jazz and hit things hard. But then I also like the gooey stuff and floor work and just kind of like lay on the ground. And so I think it's a nice balance if I get to teach both, because then I'm like, my body's liking one a little bit maybe more than the other now that I'm getting older. But so I'm probably favoring more modern nowadays. Yeah. But I still have that heart for jazz. I love jazz. I mean, it's just kind of, that's where it started for me too. Yeah. I mean, minus, all the technique through ballet, but that's kind of where that little like, I love dancing because of the jazz. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I can't really answer that.
You don't really. You don't have to pick
not
just
really.
One. That's okay. You can have a multiple. So what benefits do you see teaching dance in our academic setting at a junior college level?
Yeah, I think it's the consistency for the students, at least, because once you enroll, you're in there for 17 weeks. Yeah, at least 16, 17 weeks. Yeah. And you're getting that same teacher. You're getting those corrections constantly and the repetition. Whereas sometimes if you're dancing just at a studio, you may be just not as consistent, and also, it keeps, I don't know. To me, it just keeps you, if you're enrolled, you're going to be more likely to come and hopefully enjoy that. And I think also, because the teachers that you're taking from hopefully have master's degrees, or most likely will have a master's degree, and so there's masters, I guess, you can say, of the genre that you're taking. So I think that's also a benefit for taking in an academic setting like that too. So I'm sure there's a lot more, but those are the 2 that come to mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So number 4, we'll get into the piece a little bit more. What was the storyline idea behind your piece? Okay. What About Us?
So this is for What About Us, and this was for PDE. And the storyline basically came from a little bit of frustration, I think.
That we all feel.
To be honest, there was, the idea was that it was based on classes being canceled. So I guess the costuming and the lighting and things like that definitely played a big part, but that was the basis of it, is how do I show, or how can I show without having to write it out for people, like this is what my piece is about.
Yeah.
And granted, you know, people would probably be surprised that's what the piece was about. Maybe they just didn't know what was going on. I actually envisioned this piece being like with a lot of people, huge cast.
Yeah.
But there was 5 dancers, and I really liked the way it turned out. There were
beautiful.
There was definitely things I would do differently if I had more people to work with, more bodies, and it would probably be a much longer piece. I feel like this is like one part of it.
Yeah.
Out of like maybe 3 parts.
Yeah.
But because I know I could definitely build on that, just with I feel like that was like the opening section, and then there would be more. There would be definitely more going on, but that's the idea or the plot.
Yeah, the storyline.
Yeah,
yeah, perfect. You kind of touched on this, but how did the lighting, costumes really play into it for yours? It was very specific,
right? So this specific piece had a lot of pools. So these pools represented to me and the dancers, because we discussed it a lot as we were building the piece. But these pools represented each class. Mm-hmm. So, you know, one pool was a hip hop class, one pool. Yeah. I mean, we didn't designate them, but I just have that idea that when you're running into this pool or running out of it or going to someplace else, that each pool you're hitting, it's a different feeling. Mm-hmm. And so throughout the piece, these lights are just going out. Yeah. And they're just, you know, and maybe you're aware of it, maybe you're not. All of a sudden you're like, wait a second, there was, you know, there was 12 pools up and now there's only 4. Yeah. And so that's just signaling it's canceled. Class canceled. And so as that is happening, the dancers are actually changing from being, I guess, the dancer, because they start in like a camisole and shorts, into a full-on jacket and slacks. So they are changing basically into whatever you want to think of what that represents to you. But to me, it was kind of like administrator, or someone from like Sacramento doing, you know, laying down the law, and this is how it is going to be for the arts, and cancel that class, cancel this class. So that's basically what it represented to me. And so it kind of became a joke a little bit in class or during rehearsals, where the dancers were like, every time some dancer went down and they knew that they were going to go change, and they were like, I'm a doctor, you're going to be a doctor now, you're going to be this, you're going to do that. So it was kind of a little comical as well, but that was basically the premise. And like I said, I feel like it could have gone a little further. Yeah. If I had more people, I would actually love to keep the dancers, and then adding different people in those jackets. Yeah, but we kind of had to use both casts, or the cast as both kind of characters. If
they did a great job switching over.
And man, it took practice. I mean,
those costumes are hard.
They only had like 30 seconds or less, if that. So they were, and there was a lot to put on it. I mean, it seems like, oh, it's just pants and a jacket, but there was also a shirt.
It was a lot.
Tuck the shirt. Yes, that's right. You helped me.
I was backstage. I was helping Mia. That's right. And we had 3 8 counts. Oh. To get her in a jacket, pants, and a shirt, and have it like tucked in. And it was a really fun experience for us backstage, because it was like the most adrenaline pumping thing, because we were like, we have to get her out on stage on time. Oh my gosh. It was really interesting.
I so wish I now would have watched the piece at least one time from backstage, so I could have actually seen that, because I knew that there was chaos a little bit, but I never could see it. Yeah. So I was just always just watching, going, okay, please make it. And every show they made it on time. I know there was like a dress that it didn't happen. Someone's shirt was stuck out and stuff like that. But it was a lot for them, and I think it was good practice, because usually a quick change happens like from piece to piece, but not necessarily in the piece. Yeah. So it was good practice for them. I know it was hard, but they did a wonderful job on it.
They were ready for it.
Really proud of them.
They were ready for it.
And I'll try not to do that ever again. and like I said, if the cast was big enough, they probably wouldn't have had to. And if I would have done the piece in more parts, and this would have been the dancers, and then we would have known who they are. Yes. Versus making the change. Yeah. But
or just like 4 8 counts instead of 3. Whatever.
Right.
Would have been nice.
I know. Here I'm thinking like, oh, you'll have plenty of time, and even they thought that too, because I think when we were practicing in rehearsal, they were only putting on the pants and the jacket. Yeah. So they were like, oh, God, easy. And I kept saying, oh, you got a shirt too. And on top of that, they were sweaty.
They were, yes.
trying to
get
get
all sticky.
trying to get the pants on. That's what I heard. So
yeah,
I thank you for helping because
we had fun.
I know they needed that back there. But
we were all the changers were backstage. There was one on one side of the stage, and then there was two of us, 2 sets on one side, and like we were like before like a football game, like we were getting ourselves so pumped up for it. It was so silly, but we're like, all right, because we knew what part she was coming off. Right, okay, here she comes.
Yeah, that's intense.
It was really intense.
I was gonna say a little bit of anxiety just because it's a big responsibility to make.
And then when she got on stage, both Martha and I were like,
take a deep breath. Yeah, that's so crazy. I didn't even think. I mean, I knew it was like a task for sure, but I never was like, yeah, you guys are probably stressed.
It was just for that 30 seconds. It was like pure chaos and then Mary. And then she's on the stage, she's dancing beautifully again. Right. That's a professional right there. All of the dancers from that change moment to going back on, it was like they completely changed. It was so fun to watch, both from because I got to watch it a couple times from audience and then from backstage, and it was really fun to see them switch over.
Yeah,
it was cool
for sure.
It was really neat.
Cool. Yeah, that's great.
So for our last question is, do you have any advice for students who want to perform here at IVC and experience that fun anxiety of changing on stage?
I love it. Yes, absolutely. Get into class. Get into class. Get to know us. Come in class, and it's like a big dance family here. Mm-hmm. So especially if you're consistent and you're in a couple of shows, or if you start taking classes consistently, it's like it does become a dance family.
Yes. And
that's really special. Whether you're here for a year or 2 years, and if you get to stay here longer, that's even better. It's just that connection.
Yeah.
But come and dance. We have PDE, which is a little bit more for the advanced dancer, but we have the RMP as well, which is for any level. Everyone. So you will be a part of it. And if you are just always curious about being part of a show, I think that is the best way to do it. Yeah. Even if you've been dancing for 6 weeks or 6 years, there's something for you here.
100%.
So, yeah, just get into class.
Come and take. Teresa's teaching jazz and modern in fall.
Yay!
Come and take class.
Yeah, it's exciting. So please come. We love it here, and we have such great facilities and great teachers. So yeah, love to see you.
All right, that was it. That was 6 questions. Thanks, everybody. Yay. We'll see you next time.
Bye.